I'm going to kill myself. Hi, I'm Ariel.
I'm Bri.
And welcome to Slay What, a podcast where two women will not shut their fucking mouths.
About horror.
You didn't mouth along with me this time. I'm so proud.
Thanks. This week we're talking about Final Destination 1 through 5.
The new one's coming out when? May?
Yep.
Bloodlines, which I assume means some familial stuff is happening.
Yep. I talk a little bit about it.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't look into it at all.
So I wrote down a brief history of Final Destination.
I think we probably have a little bit of the
same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wrote down it was written by Jeffrey Reddick, Glenn Morgan, and directed by James Wong. First movie.
James Wong.
Not Wan. Wong.
When I was like watching a TikTok about it,
yeah,
I was like, what do you mean, James Wan? Oh, no.
Wong.
Different
man.
Okay.
First movie released in 2000. The budget was $23 million, but it made almost $113 million worldwide. And it got a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes and a B- cinema score.
36% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes.
Hell yeah, brother.
The franchise is pretty unique to the horror genre because there's no killer. It's just fate itself. And the death sequences are pretty insane.
Yeah, I was reading about John Waters and how he was like, these are my favorite horror movies because they're just straight up modern day exploitation movies.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to the cinema for? You're going to watch people die. And that's the only reason you're going to see these movies.
It's true, though. Yes.
You're going for the storyline? What storyline? They're all the same. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're all going to die.
So I'm sure that you have a lot about the origins and concepts of the first one.
Okay, well, so all I basically have is that the movie was first optioned as a episode of X-Files.
Yep.
So it was supposed to be an X-Files episode called Flight 180.
Mm-hmm.
And it was either the brother of Mulder or Scully. I can't remember which was going to be like the main character.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I think that's basically all I have. They just like picked it up, and it was going to be, the movie was going to be called Flight 180 as well, but they thought it would get too confusing with like all those like airplane action movies that were coming out. So like Con Air and all of that. So they changed it to Final Destination instead. So if you have more of how that happened.
So he wrote it after having read a story about a woman who was on a vacation and her mom called her and said, don't take the flight tomorrow. I have a really bad feeling about it. She ended up switching flights and the plane she originally was supposed to take actually crashed.
Where's that mom now?
I don't know.
Is she like is it Teresa Caputo?
Did she die?
What do you mean, did she die?
Well, everyone dies in these movies.
That's so true.
Did she die?
I know. Did that girl die?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh.
So after developing the feature idea, New Line Cinema hired Reddick to write a screenplay. James Wong and Glenn Morgan were later brought on board to write the shooting script. I have like an influence of real life urban legends and fears. So Jeffrey Reddick has directly referenced like the Bloody Mary urban legend a bunch of times and wrote like a spin-off project titled Bloody Mary Origins. Which
is it a movie?
I think so, yeah. Which explores the legend in a horror film setting. So yes, it's a movie. I've never seen it.
No, me neither. Now I'm interested because that was like Bloody Mary was the scariest thing when I was a child.
Yeah. And while not explicitly named, the force that stalks the survivors in Final Destination is essentially a personified version of death, similar to the way many urban legends depict a supernatural entity responsible for taking lives. He literally wrote this little snippet basically saying that urban legends embody our cultural anxieties and shape our behaviors through cautionary narratives, just like Final Destination did. And I'm going to tell you, after watching these movies, I am overly cautious in everything now.
No, you look at every possible little tiny little thing, and you're like, how is that gonna fall on that?
Yeah.
Turn over that.
Seriously. And we literally texted Chance about how I was going to Final Destination myself by touching an electrical wire.
Because he wouldn't answer us.
I was working.
Nope, we texted you the day before. 24 hours before, in fact. Yeah, look it up. I want you to.
All right, so now we're going to break down the films.
Okay, so first of all, the first thing I did in my notes was write out.
I'm bartending on St. Patrick's Day. It's St. Patrick's Saturday. It's not fair.
Go up. When did we text you the first time?
Saturday at 10:20. I texted you back Saturday at 5:09.
That's a lie.
No, it's not.
We texted you on Friday.
No, you didn't.
We texted you on Friday.
You did not.
Did you not get our text?
Oh my God, he didn't.
He didn't get our texts. They just went into the void.
Oh, no. I said, you said, whoops, I actually bartend at 7 on Sunday, Thursday or earlier Sunday. And I said, I'm good with Thursday. And then you never fucking responded.
Yeah, and then you sent me that.
I'm talking about you didn't respond to when you wanted to record this motherfucking podcast that you're producing.
I thought we were talking about when Bri was trying to Final Destination herself by
Yeah, that was a
wire.
threat because you wouldn't answer us.
Oh. Well. Glad you didn't.
Well, I said she did, but okay, so anyways. This is probably a fight we should have had.
Off camera.
Off camera. Oh, I love us. I decided to basically just simplify all 5 movies.
Well, all 3.
Nope, all 5.
Oh, because I did 4
Nope,
and 5.
I know, but into one sentence.
Okay. Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Person has a premonition of major accident and mass death. Person saves 5 to 7 people before the accident happens. The people saved end up dying in weird ass ways after.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We're done.
Goodbye.
Bye. All right, so I just wanted to bring in the concept of like the Rube Goldberg machine,
Yeah.
which was created by or named after a cartoonist who would like depict these complicated contraptions to do like a simple task. So it'd be like a dude who's like reading the newspaper, but he wants a drink of milk, but there's like this contraption around him that's like the marble falls into this, which tips over this, and then,
Yep.
just this complicated thing. So it's a series of complex contraptions to complete a simple task. And so I always think, and also like, there are plenty of people that have compared the deaths in these movies to a sort of Rube Goldberg contraption.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that's it. If you hear that, that's what that means. All right, let's talk Final Destination 1.
All right.
Are you ready? You were just blank staring at me like.
I have opinions.
Oh, about 1?
About all of them.
Oh, my
And I will
God.
read you
Of
them.
course I do.
Okay.
Okay. So I think my plots are a little bit more simple than yours, but I don't know in general if as many people have seen 4 and 5 as they have 1 through 3.
Right.
Because 4 and 5, we'll get into it. They're not well acted. Anyway, so the plot of Final Destination 1. Teenage boy, Devon Sawa,
Mm-hmm.
the hottest 90s boy to ever exist. His name is Alex. He's in his senior year of high school, and he's taking a trip to France with his French class, as one does. I never got to do that. Did you do that?
No.
Oh. Did you do that?
We went to Costa Rica for Spanish.
Oh, when you were in
like,
Spanish.
club.
Okay, sorry. I just always assume everyone's in French. Did you, what language did you take?
Spanish.
You took Spanish? You didn't have
No.
the option?
I went to Durand.
Yeah,
We
I
didn't
went
do
to a
shit.
really small town. We did not have French.
You didn't even have French?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
We had French and German, but they didn't do class trips.
Really?
No.
Well, we did like ours every other year. So either you were a junior or you were a senior, and like the juniors and seniors would take like a
Gotcha.
trip to
Okay.
either France, I think Mexico, and then no, probably not Mexico, probably somewhere in South America, and then Germany.
Yep. Okay.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Good for you. I'm proud of you for remembering that.
Do you remember any French?
Je m'appelle Ariel. But I never did it because I ended up taking Latin junior and senior year. Anyway, sorry. It's just a side note I kind of wanted to talk about. So Alex ends up having a premonition of the plane crashing pretty brutally. He tries to warn everyone. Some people leave willingly, and some are booted with Alex because they tried to fight him.
Yep.
Which this scene like bothered me so much when I just rewatch it, because I was like, Alex is literally just saying like, this plane's gonna crash. We all need to get off. And then this like random bully is just like, you motherfucker, like, why are you fucking like? And then he like goes after him, and Alex is just like, the plane's gonna crash.
Okay, but bullies in like early 2000s, late 90s movies were bullies for no reason.
That's so fucking true. But like the way I was like, Alex is like so removed from this situation. Like he had no idea that this man was trying to fight him on the plane.
Yeah.
He was just literally having a meltdown
Yep.
about having just seen all of his friends be burned to death in a horrific plane crash.
Hot take, we should bring back bullying.
Yeah, but we need to be more, I think, particular about who we're bullying. Yeah. Like Elon Musk. Let's bully him more. More hate, please. They're in the lobby and all the people are off and the plane actually ends up blowing up. And Alex is the number one suspect when the FBI comes sniffing about. And that's when you can really tell that there's X-Files influences because of those two FBI agents.
Yep.
And then the people who survived in the plane crash start dying in strange ways. And that's basically all I have for the plot. But then I have another little section that's called Who's Next? Because I think that's a lot of like the mystery of a lot of these movies is like, how are they going to determine who's next? How do we figure out who's next? In terms of them dying off after they were saved. So I said the order that they died in the plane crash is how they are going to end up dying in strange ways unless someone intervenes.
Here's the thing. He remembered exactly where everyone was sitting on that fucking plane. I would never be able to do that. That's how he figured it out. He like held up
I know, because then he
his little paper and then
yeah,
he like made a little map
He made the map, yeah.
of where people were sitting. Do you fucking remember? I don't remember where I was sitting on a plane.
I know. They should have prefaced it by being like, and by the way, Alex has a photographic memory.
Seriously.
Alex got that dog in him.
That might be it. Unless someone intervenes, and we learn that when the first survivor dies. Todd.
Yep.
So Todd dies, and that's Alex's best friend.
Yep.
Him and Clear.
Rivers.
I think the worst name that's
Clear Rivers.
the worst possible character name ever. So him and Clear, another survivor, go to see Alex's body. Go to see Todd's body after he had passed in a very fucking weird way. Alex was like, there's something to this. I have to go see his body.
Yep.
Who do they meet?
Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. He's the mortician.
Yep.
I was like, in a part of this, I was like, cremation specialist, death incarnate. Like, we don't know. But he tells them death has a design. It has a plan unless someone intervenes.
Right.
So they're in their heads. They're like, okay, well, then we got to figure out who's next.
Tony Todd also like the most chill with a group of teenagers breaking into a funeral home.
I know. He's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah.
He's
Hi.
like,
you guys want to, you guys here to fuck the dead body or?
yeah, it's right here. And then I also said, like, Alex can see signs around him. So he sees, like, to determine, like, who's next.
Yeah.
Before he figures out the whole, like, how they die.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that little, like, ass newspaper that gets, like, all shredded. And then the Todd paper goes on his thigh.
Yeah.
And he's like, Todd! And then I think either minutes or seconds before Terry gets hit by the bus, He sees the bus. I'm like, that's useless. You just saw it in the reflection mere seconds before she got hit by a fucking bus. Anyways, how do I wrap this movie up? Because I don't have it written down because I didn't care. Basically, no one's survive. You're meant to assume no one survives this movie
Right.
because the end sequence is the 3 survivors go to Paris. Finally.
Yep. They're finally
Like
in
they were
Paris.
supposed to. And the bully gets hit by a sign.
Yep.
And I think that you're just like, oh, so death's just like looping back around,
Yep.
coming to get them all. I'll go into that more in the second one. But then I also did list the song in that movie is Rocky Mountain High by John Denver.
Yep.
So like random points in the movie, Alex will hear that song and be like, oh, a death's about to happen. But what's significant about that song specifically is that John Denver died in a plane crash.
Yes.
Okay, and then this is kind of boring. I don't know if I want to do this. I have Final Destination characters that are based on horror icons. So like their names. So Alex Browning, who is the main character, was named after Todd Browning, who directed Freaks.
Oh, okay.
And then Billy Hitchcock,
Yeah.
who was the one who was sliced, I think, here.
Yeah. By the train.
Sean William Scott.
Yep.
The dumbest one was Alfred Hitchcock, obviously the worst.
Yep.
Oh, I put is a bitch and directed Bird's Rear Window, Psycho, and Vertigo. He is a bitch, stupid bitch. Larry Marneau. I don't even know who that is. Larry. Fuck. Oh, the French teacher, I think, that died in the plane crash, maybe. Fuck, I don't know. F.W. Murnau, and he directed the original Nosferatu.
Oh, yep.
Terry Chaney.
Okay.
I bet you can guess that one.
He was the French teacher also.
Okay, cool. Terry Chaney was the one who was hit by the bus. Who do you
Liz
think she was?
Cheney.
You're right. She is a horror icon.
Dick.
Lon Chaney.
Oh,
Dick Cheney.
that's what I was going to say, but that's not a horror icon, but that's what the first thing that popped into my
He's a
head.
horrifying person.
He's the Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces
Oh, yep. Okay.
in horror.
Yep.
And then Agent Shrek.
Shrek,
which I love.
obviously.
Yeah.
Named after Shrek.
Yeah.
The
What
green.
are you doing in my swamp?
That's why he kept saying that over and over again.
I was like, that's so weird. Max Shrek, he was an actor in Nosferatu. He was Count Orlok in Nosferatu.
Yep. Okay.
Mhm. And then when I was Googling Max Shrek, one of Google's questions was, did Max Shrek even exist? That's
What?
something to think about. Did he? And then Val Luton produced Cat People.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, do you want to talk about the alternate ending of the first one?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Because it got completely changed.
Yep.
Everyone was like, fuck that ending. I want more death.
Valid.
Because it was like, they were like, it was too philosophical for people to be, no one enjoyed it. Because it was
but
like
I
too.
do have an opinion about the alternate ending that
Okay.
would kind of tie into the second movie.
Okay. The ending of Final Destination 1 was supposed to be that Alex finds out that Clear Rivers, the love of his life, is next
Yes.
in death.
Mm-hmm.
Finds that out and he goes to save her.
Yep.
And he ends up getting electrocuted.
Yep.
And then he dies.
Yes. Right.
But he doesn't in the one we
Right.
we know, because then they end up going to
Right.
Paris together. In the alternate ending, he does die
Okay.
while saving Clear. And then 1 year later, Clear and the bully go to Alex's gravesite
Yes.
with
A
a
child.
baby. Because there was like a sex scene cut out, and Clear apparently got pregnant. Teen Mom, we love to see it. Hello?
Do we?
Just kidding. No, we don't. No, I don't know why. I don't know why I said that. No, I don't know why I said that. We don't do that.
I'm cutting out the part where you say, I don't know why I said that. Isolate that as the TikTok.
Yeah, so she had a baby with dead Alex.
Yep.
Conceived before he was dead. So that they, like, you're supposed to understand, like, new life has changed Death's design.
Yes.
And that was kind of supposed to be ultimately the end.
Yes.
That was it.
Yeah.
Final destination standalone.
Yep.
All right. Now let me hear your thoughts.
Well, I feel like we have to talk about the other two for me to tell you the thoughts
Okay,
about the alternate
we can keep
ending
going,
because
But
I
I
don't want to
do
spoil
want
it.
to pause for your letterbox review of this movie.
All right, are you ready? I'll pull it up. My review of Final Destination gave it 4 stars, and I said, Alex, please stop touching everything when you're being accused of a crime. That was my review.
It's especially true when the teacher dies, when
I know, he's just like
Mrs.
touching
Luton dies.
everything.
Yeah, he's like, what can I possibly touch here? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Touch the knife that's inside of her right now.
Yeah, I'll touch that.
Got it. Touch the front door. Yeah, like I'll do anything. I'm going to touch everything. And
FBI
make sure.
agents are looking for you and interrogating you, and you're going to touch everything you find at a death scene. Okay.
I know. He is a white boy in the 2000s, though. Like, no one understood true crime like we do right now. All right, Final Destination 2. Let's go. The plot. A college girl named Kimberly
Mhm.
wants to go to spring break with all of her friends in Florida. They all leave in her SUV. She ends up having a premonition of a logging truck causing mass death and an insane pileup. So she blocks the ramp to the highway before it happens, and everyone who is behind her is saved. And all of them end up starting to die in strange ways.
Weird. Could have never seen this coming.
So here's my problem is I know these movies enough where I can just like talk more about the plot because that's all I said.
Hot take.
What?
All these movies are the same.
I know, but you have so much. You said you have so much like written on yours. It's just like, what's the fucking point? They're all the fucking same.
Right.
And people aren't watching these for the plot, which was my point in the beginning when we were talking in the beginning. The people are watching it for weird ass deaths.
Yeah.
How these motherfuckers gonna die?
Yeah.
Probably weirdly, probably in strange ways. I did say though, the funniest quote is from the white boy who's driving, and like I think he's like, so he's like, this is during Kimberly's premonition.
Mm-hmm.
So during the premonition scene of Final Destination 2, it's this like shaggy haired, he's got like dark brown hair,
Yep.
white boy, and he's like sitting back listening to really loud rap music.
Yeah.
And he does coke, like he's doing coke at the same time, and the cop like comes up behind him and he like gets lower and he gets kind of scared. And then as the cop drives by him, he goes, "What? I'm wearing my seatbelt. You gonna bust me, bitch?" It's the funniest fucking shit. After him looking like a little loser widow baby. Okay, so do you remember the song for this movie?
No.
Think about the premonition. Think about the inciting incident.
Nope. Don't remember the
Do
song.
you remember it?
No, but I want to say Highway to Hell.
It is Highway to
Oh,
Hell.
I do remember it.
It is, yeah. It's Highway to Hell by AC/DC. Okay, so the whole thing of this movie is who's next,
Mm-hmm.
and they flip it.
Yep.
So they should be dying in the order that they die in the pileup. And I need to like call Rachel, our old intern, and personally apologize to her because she was right.
Oh no!
I yelled at her
You
about
yelled.
this. It's because I was like, and this is going to be a running theme of the podcast, I was massively hungover and just uninterested and hearing like anyone correct me about what I was trying to say. But in this movie, it is discovered that at the end of the first movie, no, not everyone did die. Just Carter died at the end of the first movie.
Yeah. Okay.
We find out Alex ends up dying from a fucking falling brick
Yep.
from a building.
From a brick. Mm-hmm.
And then Clear is still alive.
Yep.
Clear Rivers is still alive, and she checked herself into voluntarily checked herself into a mental institution, into like a padded cell.
Yep.
Which I don't know if you can do that. Can you do that?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Then,
Like completely padded
then maybe.
I mean, they don't make mental institutions like they used to.
in 2003. Oh, I never actually looked up the dates of these movies.
First one was 2000. I think the second
Two?
one was 2002.
Yeah. In 2002, they had where you can be like, death's coming after. Oh, I guess if you did say that.
You did say that.
If
people
you did
would
say that,
put you
people
in
would
that
be like,
realm.
yeah, maybe you should. But there is that scene when Kimberly, college girl, is going to meet Clear.
Yes.
And the nurse that's checking her in is like, please take off anything sharp.
Yep.
Like any jewelry, like
Yep.
any belt, like whatever. She's like, wow, is she really dangerous? And the nurse is like, no, this is like her request. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't.
It seems like padded cells were not really. They fell out of favor in the 50s when they started getting good drugs.
So you discover that Clear's alive.
Yes.
And so instead of the people dying in this movie, dying in the order that they die in the crash, they die in reverse because death is trying to tie up loose ends.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Rachel.
I'm so fucking sorry. That was so mean, and I yelled in your face about it. Kimberly also has visions,
Yes.
but also other survivors in this movie are encouraged to also see signs around them.
Mm-hmm.
And they do. Like the white rapping boy who's scared of cops from the beginning
Yes.
ends up seeing the man with the hooks
Yes.
who kills or who ends up being the cause of a woman who dies in the elevator.
Yep.
In this movie, they eventually, everyone that comes together after like two of them die, they all come together and they find out that everyone in like all the survivors are connected to people from Flight 180 from the first movie. I only have Kimberly's connection, but if you can think of any other one. Because I thought that was super interesting. Kimberly's connection was that one day she was at the mall with her mother and they were leaving the mall,
Yes.
but
Yep.
Kimberly got distracted by a news report of the death of a Flight 180 survivor. I think Todd's
Yeah.
death. And her mother was out in the parking lot and was killed in the parking lot by, I think, people trying to carjack her.
Yep.
And so she skipped death that way by a survivor's death.
Yeah.
So this is what I have to say. I think that hints at like the butterfly effect.
Yep.
Right? And how Flight 180 disrupted death's entire design.
Mm-hmm. Of
So Tony Todd's in this movie as well.
course he is.
I said in parentheses, we know he's the coroner,
Yeah.
but I said, and maybe cremation specialist? Because isn't he literally pushes Todd's
Yeah.
body into the, yeah. Do coroners do that? Are they the ones pushing bodies into the cremation area?
Tony Todd is just doing it all. Okay.
And we love him for that. And he does the most in 5.
Yes, he does the most.
Coroners
Usually just
investigate.
pronounce people dead.
Yeah, coroners investigate deaths.
Well, he was definitely a coroner in 5.
Yeah, usually it goes to like a crematorium and they
Yes.
do the thing.
Okay, here's where I kind of get deep.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in this movie, Clear brings Kimberly and the cop who survived the highway pileup.
Yeah.
Brings them to Tony Todd's character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his character's name, and I never will. It's Tony Todd.
Yes, correct.
He says only new life can defeat death. So that's why they go on this huge, in the second movie, they go on this huge thing where they're like, there was a pregnant woman on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
We need her baby to be born, and that will
Yes.
like change the course of death, or like change death's plan.
Right.
What's up?
William Bloodworth.
Yeah. Who?
Tony Todd.
Thank you.
Hmm.
But here's the thing. He also says that their actions would force death to come up with a new plan. So, technically, if you think about what he's talking about in this movie, cheating death at all in this whole franchise is not possible.
Right.
It's not a thing. New life in intervening just buys you more time.
Yes.
Eventually, and so, sorry, spoiler alert, we'll talk about it, but every character in this franchise is fucking killed. Every single one of them.
Kinda.
Except for Tony Todd.
Except for Tony Todd.
That bitch is dead.
Kimberly survives at the end.
No, I'm going to tell you about it.
She dies? They never say she dies.
They do.
Do they?
It's a sneaky little thing, but they do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Is Tony Todd dead or is he death?
So there was this like fan, not rumor, but like fan thing going around being like, do we think that Tony Todd's character, Blooby Boob, or whatever you said, do we think that he's just like death personified?
Right. That's what I...
like all the directors, like they're like, no, he's just a dude who's really in tune with death because he works with death every day.
Right.
Final Destination 2 is thought to be based on a 125 car pileup
Oh, God.
in Ringgold, Georgia.
Damn. Okay.
I didn't get a date. I'm really bad at dates right now. And then there's only 2. So Final Destination characters based on horror icons. I only got 2.
Oh.
Because I couldn't find anything else. Anyways, Kimberly Corman, who is the main character, is named after Roger Corman, who is a famous executive producer of a ton of horror movies.
Okay.
And guess what? He also was asked to cameo in your favorite
Terrifying?
movie.
Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Guess who he was?
Who?
The FBI director.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's Roger Corman. And then Nora and Tim, their last name is fucking Carpenter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do we need to explain that one?
I feel like if we did, that's fucking sucks.
I'm guessing John Carpenter.
Yeah. Of course. All right. What's your review, baby?
3 stars. Hot take. Evan deserved it. Evan was the lottery winner.
He was the first surviving character who died.
He was also making
And he was the
spaghetti in a
last-
pan.
He was also the last person. Yeah, that's fucked.
He was making spaghetti in a pan. He did a lot of weird shit when he got home that I was like, what the fuck, dude? But the spaghetti in the pan really got it. And I was like, yeah, he deserved it.
He also bought out like the ugliest ring ever.
It was hideous. Goodbye, Evan.
If I won the lottery, the last thing I would do would be buying jewelry.
I know, me too.
I'd be like, I'm gonna pay rent for the next 12 months. Yeah, like, anyways, you're right. That's a correct take. Thank you. All right, Final Destination 3. Let's go. Why do I keep saying that? I'm embarrassed for myself. I just watched this one last night again for, I think, the 3rd time in 2 weeks.
Oh God.
I like this one.
I like 3 as well.
I like 3.
Yeah.
I like 1, 2, 3 a lot. Stop fucking looking at me like that. I'm so fucking
Me?
no.
It was me.
I was gonna say.
No, you just agreed with me.
Yeah.
Look at me however you want to look at me.
Continue.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
We'll talk about 3.
All right,
Let's go.
so the plot of Final Destination 3. High school senior and yearbook photographer Wendy goes to a trip with her graduating class to a silly little amusement park. Oh, I put in parentheses, she's scared of roller coasters. She has a premonition of the roller coaster malfunctioning, that the roller coaster she goes on with her friends, malfunctioning and everyone on it dying. When she freaks out about the premonition, random people get off of the roller coaster and are saved before the accident. All those who got off end up dying in weird ways.
Really? Do they? What do you mean?
This is the only one to me that's like Alex and Kimberly from the previous 2
Mm-hmm.
have like supernatural things around them that like suggest who is going to die next.
Yeah.
Like in like nature, or also Kimberly has like visions.
Mhm.
Sometimes she'll just be standing and like see what's I think like 2 or 3 times in the movie Kimberly just like has a vision of something
Yeah.
that like she can't interpret, and then they obviously misinterpret it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the only one that's like Wendy just looks at pictures she took.
Yeah. She just looks at pictures she took. She's like,
And that's how she
yeah, someone wearing a shirt that says something. That's a clue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like that person's face is like screwed up and like it's really bright in the back.
Yeah.
And so like she has to like,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, poor Wendy is at almost every crime scene.
Yes.
I think a couple times unintentionally.
Except
she's-
for the girls in the
Oh, she's not in. No,
the
she's not
tanning
there.
beds. No.
The most iconic. I think the most iconic scene of any Final Destination
I love that scene.
is the
It's
tanning
pretty
bed
funny.
scene.
It's very good.
The tanning bed scene also, the 2 girls were really worried about it because they had to be naked.
Yeah.
And James Wong was like pretty insistent that they should be naked because they were like, he was like, death will even get you at your most vulnerable state.
Right.
So, but he was like,
And also, titties sell better. Titties sell more tickets.
well, I'm sure that, yeah, that's actually the case. But he was very respectful and he was like, okay, well, then here's what we'll do. We'll do like a closed set. And it was just him and the videographer and then the 2
gotcha.
girls.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it was like even blacked out like
Yeah.
around. So it was only them 4
Okay.
shooting, which I think is very nice.
That is very nice.
So yeah, that's how they determine she dies. It ends with Wendy having another premonition.
Yep.
And then all of the survivors just end up dying
On the subway.
on the subway.
Yep.
And survivors. But like that is the introduction of like having another, I have another premonition.
Right.
Like a full-blown premonition.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Kimberly's from the second one were just like little itty
yeah.
bitty visions. Yeah, Wendy had another full-blown vision. Anyway, so this movie's song is called Turn Around, Look at Me by the Vogues. So it goes, there is someone walking behind you.
Oh yeah, I remember that
Okay.
now. Yep.
I included another funniest line. The guy from Smart House and The Luck of the Irish, who is in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
He's the
Oh my God, he is from Smart House and Luck of the Irish.
he's a Disney Channel original
Yeah.
boy. He asks Wendy how he's going to die based on the photo that she saw of him.
Mm-hmm.
And she won't say. So she's like pushing him out of the door. And he asks, there's nothing like up my ass, is there?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tony Todd wasn't physically in this movie, but he voiced the demon who said, like, who talks about the roller coaster.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
welcome to
Okay.
hell.
Yeah.
That's Tony Todd's voice. And then Very end of the movie, in the subway, the person who's speaking over like the subway speaker, who says this is the end of the line. That's also Tony Todd's voice.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I have more characters based on horror icons, but I'll skip that. And then in my notes I have, there are a bunch of references to attempted and completed presidential assassinations in this movie, but I got too bored reading about it and decided not to do any more research than this.
I got too bored reading about it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Just being honest. Okay. So here we go. We're going to learn about Kimberly and the cop's fate.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
So in the scene at the end in the subway, Wendy and two other survivors, her sister and Luck of the Irish Boy, they discover that Kimberly and the cop are also in the subway.
Oh.
So from the second movie. We also learn in that movie that Kimberly and Wendy are cousins.
Okay.
Well, or in this alternate ending.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why they're all together at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's why the subway ends up derailing, is to tie up all of the loose ends.
Yeah.
So they got both survivors from the second, all three from the third, all dead.
Okay.
What actually happens to Kimberly and the cop? So one of the two actors from the second movie weren't available to film this ending.
Okay.
So they changed it, and in like you can go into like the DVD setting special features of the third movie.
Okay.
And there's like a article that you can read.
Oh.
Or like an article you can pause on that talks about how the two survivors of the second movie end up dying in a wood chipper together.
Oh. Okay.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but I didn't think that I had to go
interesting.
more through that. But yeah, they end up dying in a wood chipper.
Interesting.
And it was in direct like correlation to someone from the like third movie, I think. So like something happened, and then so like another Rube Goldberg thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like something happened. They end up at a hardware store.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
They have to escape through the back.
Uh-huh.
Kimberly gets caught in the wood chipper.
Yep.
Her coat does.
Yeah.
She can't get pulled out.
Okay.
The cop tries to grab for her. They both get pulled in.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So yeah, they're fucking dead. So that's what I'm saying.
No
one fucking lives this in the this at
one...
all. All right. And what'd you say about this movie, baby?
I gave it 3 stars. Oh no. Yeah, 3 stars. Wow. I had no idea what was gonna happen.
End of review.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to talk about 4 and 5?
I sure am.
All right.
Number 4 is called The Final Destination. Spoiler! It's not. It's not The Final Destination. This one was in 3D.
I hated looking at it.
Didn't watch it in 3D. Have no interest in watching it in 3D. It was written by Eric Bress and directed by David Ellis. So, in The Final Destination, college student Nick O'Brien visits the McKinley Speedway for a study break with his friends Lori Mulligan, Janet Cunningham, and Hunt Wisniewski. While watching the race, Nick has a premonition that a race car crash will send debris into the stands, causing the stadium to collapse on the guests. When Nick panics, a fight breaks out and several people leave before the accident occurs, including his friends Lori, Janet, and Hunt, security guard George Lanner, and spectators Andy Cuser, Samantha Lane, Jonathan Groves, Carter Daniels, and Nadia Monroe. Once again, the survivors are killed in a series of strange accidents. Except for Janet, who was rescued just moments before her death. So this leads to the remaining survivors to believe that they have cheated death until Nick has another premonition of a disastrous explosion at a shopping mall, which he manages to prevent, saving himself, Lori, and Janet. Do they live?
No.
2 weeks later, Nick realizes the mall disaster vision was only meant to lead them to where death needed them to be, and all 3 are killed by a runaway semi.
Okay, I will say, though, that the end credits of that fucking scene go hard. When you see the X-ray of their bodies getting crushed by a semi,
Mhm.
mwah, mwah, mwah,
It was
mwah.
it was okay.
Even though I hate bones, it was just an
Yeah.
X-ray. It wasn't real life bones.
So I thought I'd do something kind of fun and talk about all the deaths. Nadia is decapitated by a flying race car tire as soon as she leaves the stands. So she's like out in the parking lot and a flying.
So you're
race
talking
car
about
tire.
every single death?
Yeah. Here we go. Buckle up, Buttercup. Carter Daniels was burned to death when the garbage truck that was dragging him along the road exploded.
He was a fucking racist. I don't give a fuck.
Goodbye.
Oh, it was a tow truck, actually. Just watched the dead meat video on these.
Oh yeah, it was a tow truck, not a garbage truck. Sorry. Samantha.
Yeah, because he brought the tow truck there.
Yes,
Because he was so it was his own fucking truck.
it was his own
So
truck.
a fucking Nazi.
Goodbye.
This is why I love that death so much, is because it was a motherfucking loser ass
He
Nazi
was going to put a burning cross in
Yeah.
the security
on
guard.
somebody's
yard.
and him getting dragged
yes.
in the back and getting lit on fire.
Yep.
Like what fucking Nazis and KKK members
Yep.
would do to Jewish people, black people, gay people,
Yep.
drag them.
Mhm.
It was just
It's a great death.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Man, I never actually picked my favorite.
Samantha Lane was there's a rock shot through her eye socket by a lawnmower. And I kind
Hilarious
of
buildup.
loved this scene because she's like in the salon getting her hair done. A lot of weird shit happens. They need to do something with the salon because a ceiling fan falls out of the motherfucking ceiling.
I found like I've realized, I don't know, I think it might just be 4 and 5 that this happens way too much in, but it's just open bottles of liquid
Yes.
are
Everywhere.
everywhere. Fucking everywhere.
Andy Cuser blasted into a metal fence that sliced his back into chunks.
That's fine.
It was fine. Hunt, so his insides were sucked out through his rectum by a pool drain. I'm so sorry, but I hated him. Jonathan Groves was crushed by a falling bathtub. George Lantner,
And that poor old guy
I
that had to
know.
watch
I
it
know.
happen.
He was just like in the
He was like,
bathroom.
help.
Someone help me.
He was like, the water. It's
The water's overflowing.
Help. Someone help. Just this like fucking 80-year-old dude just like stuck there watching the fucking bath collapse through the ceiling. Oh. I
Jonathan,
usually hate old people, but I felt bad for that one. Sorry.
George Lantner was run over by an ambulance.
Oh, he didn't deserve that.
I know, I liked him.
Twice.
Janet Cunningham head crushed underneath the wheels of a truck. Lori Mulligan rammed in the back by a truck. And Nick O'Bannon flung into a wall by a truck.
I think we need to ban trucks.
We need to ban trucks. That is the Final Destination.
Is Tony Todd in that one?
He is, I believe, yes. No, maybe not.
I don't think he is.
I don't even remember, honestly. I'm going to be so for real. I watched all these movies in 2 days.
I know you did.
Yes.
I'll do this for you. The Final Destination 4 song,
What was it?
Dixieland.
Oh, okay.
The most racist.
Yep.
Song.
Here's my review. I gave it a 1 star, and I said, I've never seen anything like this before. Not even in 1 through 3. Wow, especially loved the big toe. In the salon, where they show the girls' feet.
Tony Todd is not in this one.
Yeah, I think this one might be the only one he's like not.
It is.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
even in Bloodlines, apparently.
Yeah. And he's featured heavily in the next one.
Um,
He's probably like, this movie looks like it fucking sucks. And it did.
well, the interesting, because I watched the Dead Meat kill count video on YouTube of this one because I only watched 1 through 3, and so many of the effects in this one were practical, but because they had to like do CGI to them for the 3D effect, they look so fucking shitty.
They look
look
so
bad.
bad.
They look so bad. Like the fence,
Yeah.
the guy pushing him getting
Yep.
pushed against the fence. They did that with practical, but it looked
Stupid.
shitty because they had to CGI.
But
it,
here's the thing:
so.
is I think when did this movie come out?
I have no idea.
I think
I don't-
2009 it came
Yeah.
out. Maybe the fourth one. 2009 to 2011. I think that people were, well, especially people like producing movies, and they really thought 3D was the thing, like that it was going to be the fucking thing,
I
because
know.
that's around the time that Saw 3D came out. And like, I think that I remember me and Luke seeing like a Marvel movie that it was like 3D. I don't want to fucking see I don't want things flying at my face like that.
I went and saw the Phantom Menace in 3D, like around that time too.
Did they like redo it?
Yeah, they like
Yeah.
made just 3D elements.
They thought it was really gonna, and then they just abandoned it completely. I feel like, in like,
Thank God.
seriously, I have no interest. But they really thought it was gonna blow up. So I think that 4 and 5 were both 3D. I think 5 was too.
Mm-hmm. No, well, Final Destination 5 wasn't 3D. I don't think. Was it?
It was, I think. Will you look it up, Chance?
Oh.
Told ya.
Good. Cool. Here we go. Final Destination 5. So Sam Lawton is on his way to a corporate retreat with his colleagues. While they cross the North Bay Bridge, Sam has a premonition that the bridge will collapse, killing everyone on it. Sam manages to persuade several of his coworkers to get off the bridge before the accident occurs. Afterwards, everyone just dies in bizarre accidents.
Would have thought. That's really weird.
Sam is warned that death is still after the survivors and told that if he wants to live, he must kill someone who was never meant to die on the bridge and
Who
claim
told
their
him that?
remaining lifespan. It was Tony Todd.
Tony Todd!
This was never introduced in any of the other movies, that you can just like kill someone and take their life from them.
You know, it's scientific discovery. You know, you change your opinion as new information is presented. So
But
Tony
here's-
No,
Todd
but
is
here's
a
the
dude-
thing,
Let me keep
dude.
going. Let me keep
You
going.
can't do it that loud to the mic.
Here's the thing, dude.
Olivia and Dennis are killed before they have a chance to save themselves, but Nathan claims the lifespan of a coworker when he accidentally causes his death in a warehouse accident.
No, he purposely does it.
Well, accidentally. Yeah. Peter attempts to kill Molly, jealous that she survived instead of Candace. And he eventually gains the lifespan of an investigating agent, but is killed by Sam before he can kill Molly. Sam and Molly later board a plane to Paris, which is revealed to be Flight 180 from the first film. So this is a prequel.
So 5 is
Chance?
a prequel.
Tony Todd, I have questions.
I'm going to be so fucking for real with you. 5 was not impressed with at all. I was like, what a bore. Like, oh, okay. Actually, kind of an interesting concept to be able to like kill someone and get
steal someone's life.
get their remaining lives.
Right.
That's fucking interesting. But I loved that, like, the guy in the warehouse who killed like his bully.
Oh, we're going to talk about it in
Oh,
the
okay.
deaths.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It shook me to my core when I saw the end of this movie. And like they cut in, they splice in scenes from the first movie. So like it's like the two main characters from this movie, they're like looking over to see what the commotion is, and then they splice in scene of Alex and
Yeah.
the bully getting like taken away, and then I was like, oh my God. Oh. And I was shocked by how shook I was, because none of those characters looked like they were from the like
No.
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. No.
I was like, oh, this is 2011.
Are you ready to talk about their death?
Of course I am, honey.
Candace fell off a support beam, snapping her spinal cord. The way her body just like flops in half, I'm like, was she high enough up for that to actually happen?
Oh, I thought you were going to say it reminds you of your scoliosis.
She was like
Watching
in a
that
Scoliosis.
hurt
she was
my
in a
spine.
tight C at the end.
Yeah.
A tight C.
Isaac Palmer, skull crushed by a falling Buddha statue. Also deserved it. I hated that guy.
I thought you would have hated this death the most
Why?
because of all the needles.
Oh, yeah. Didn't like that. But I hated him. So I was cheering the entire time it happened.
I just loved it. But like, I loved how much he was tortured.
Yes. Olivia fell onto a car after falling through a window several stories high. And you hated this scene because she gets her eyeball burned.
I talk about it later.
Roy Carson accidentally pushed onto a metal hook by Nathan, causing it to go under his chin and through the top of his head. So that's how Nathan saves himself. Dennis is killed when a wrench flew into his eye line. Agent Jim Block shot 3 times in the back by Peter.
I hated that motherfucker for a while, but he didn't deserve that.
The agent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter impaled through the back by Sam with a mute skewer. Molly Harper sliced in half by a plane wing after being sucked out of an airplane. Sam burned to death when the plane exploded, and Nathan was crushed by a falling piece of Flight 180's airplane. QY.
So the guy who gets crushed by the debris from 180 is the one who killed his bully in the warehouse. And you find out, I think you find out almost right before he dies.
Yes, right before he dies.
Is that he had like terminal cancer. Or no.
He had
Brain
like
aneurysm.
a
Brain-
brain
he-
aneurysm.
That was about to
burst. Yeah.
burst. And so he only had like 2 days to live anyway.
So Tony Todd was wrong about claiming someone else's lifespan, which is why he told the next batch of kids.
He
in
was
the
like,
first one.
well, no, yeah, he was like kind of like trying to figure out.
He was just
like,
experimenting.
yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
what can I say?
What can I say?
What can I say that sounds cool and kind of creepy?
And like, and then he was like, oh, they misinterpreted it.
Yeah, I just made a bunch of people try to murder each other.
I know, and that's like he was like,
Oops.
I am God. I think I might be God.
Yeah, I think I might be God. So these movies kind of just like scrap the idea.
Oh, and then this. I'm so sorry. This movie, what the song was, "Dust in the Wind,"
Oh, yep.
and I think it was heard over 4 times.
Mhm. These movies kind of just like scrap the idea that we have any control over our fates. Let's talk a little psychology because I found some interesting.
Go for it.
Studies show that in the United States, 11% of people said they are very afraid of death, and 31% said that they are somewhat afraid. And I found that there is a correlation between death anxiety and religion.
No shit.
Shocking.
What do you mean?
So there's this guy named Ernest Becker who developed something called the terror management theory. And according to this theory, humans are aware of their own mortality, which in turn produces intense existential anxiety. And to cope and ease the produced anxiety, humans will pursue either literal or symbolic immortality. So aka religion. So he did like a study with like 135 participants. And those that were strictly religious and followed religion very closely scored lower on death anxiety tests, claiming they were basically immortal.
Wait, people who were religious claim they were immortal?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I feel like you want to say something.
Well, I think I have a lot of thoughts because I think that's a lot of the reason that you see primarily pretty old people on Sunday morning at churches, right?
Yeah.
They're fucking scared to die.
Yeah.
And it is scary to die, to think
Mhm.
about death,
Yeah.
except for if you're an atheist and you think when you die, nothing happens.
But that's the thing with like people that strongly believe in religion think that that is scarier, that nothing happens. They want to believe that something happens after death. Otherwise,
But
what's
how
the
the fuck?
point?
You're not going to fucking know anything. If you die
Right.
and nothing happens, you just don't exist anymore.
Yeah, they can't handle that thought.
And I guess that's a really,
That's a
that
scary thought
sucks.
to a lot of people.
But how are you going to know anything? You're
Well,
not going
right.
to be conscious.
Right.
You're not going to exist anymore. And you know what? I love that. I hope that's true.
Okay.
For me.
That was my study that I found. I thought it was interesting.
It's so interesting. Tracks. Totally tracks.
It tracks. So do you think that watching these movies makes you more paranoid?
Yeah. Like when I watch, yeah, definitely. Because I told you. Yes.
Every
100%.
time I'm on the interstate and I see a log truck,
Yeah, and we'll
I
talk about that because we're
immediately
gonna
switch lanes.
Yes, it absolutely makes me more paranoid. I don't know if I'm more like I don't think I'm scared of like some like strange accident happening to me. Am
Yeah.
I more aware of my surroundings? Sure. But I feel like the inciting incidents are more scary to me than those like freak accidents that are happening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember leaving. I remember seeing, I think 3 in theaters, leaving it and being like, oh, it's too dark in here. I'm going to trip down the stairs, hit something, throw my leg out. An old woman is going to like trip over that and their head's going to get bashed. Like, you know, it does make you a little bit worried. But no, I think inciting incidents are like the things that have made me most paranoid.
Yeah.
Of like all 5. Not 4. Fuck 4.
Because you would never be at a racetrack.
I used to be, when I was younger, I was always at racetracks.
Hmm.
Yeah. My mom's ex-boyfriend was like a huge race car guy. I didn't give a fuck. I was walking around. This is probably the most autistic thing I could possibly say. But I had a Ziploc bag and I would collect, what's it called?
Like can tabs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
Different colored. And I'd put them in my...
Ariel got that dog in her.
I do. That's when I was like, wait a minute. Something ain't right with me.
I ranked the films.
Oh, I could do that probably off the top of my head.
So I put the first one first.
I don't agree with that.
And then it goes 2, 3, and then 5, and then I put 4 last.
I say 2, 1, 3, 5, 4.
So we're close.
Super close. I think that 2, well, we always talk about nostalgic purposes.
Yeah.
I saw 2 before I saw 1. So I think that maybe that's why that's influencing my ranking. What about you, Chance?
I've only seen
Oh, yeah, you never saw 4 and 5.
Yeah, I only saw the first 3, so I might go 2, 1, 3 as well, actually.
Okay. Best deaths?
Oh, do you want me to? So do we want to do that, or do you want me to read the Reddit post I found?
Oh, you can read the Reddit post you found.
These are pretty fast. I'm going to read them like word for word.
Okay.
But I did quote them, and I couldn't include their username. So I did a Google search. Literally, I just said like examples of Rube Goldberg machine deaths or whatever.
Okay.
And a Reddit post popped up on our morbid questions. And it said, are there any examples of real life Final Destination style deaths? And I got a couple.
Okay.
So user King Shakalaka.
I'm so sorry.
And this is like confirmed by a lot of people. And I didn't get curious enough to look it up, but it was like confirmed by a bunch of like comments and stuff. There's the infamous brick video, which I don't know what that.
I don't know.
I don't know why it's infamous, but I guess everyone's seen it. Whatever.
Okay.
It's a piece of dash cam footage of a guy and his mother driving on the highway, and suddenly a brick flies through the windshield, hitting the mother in the head. You don't see the actual incident, just the brick flying through the windshield, and then the man crying afterwards. I've seen a ton of gore, but that one never ceases to be distressing.
Hey.
King Shakalaka also says, there's also a CCTV video of a woman walking her dog, a cyclist trying to pass a truck by, and he suddenly stumbles with his head landing in front of one of the truck's tires, and the truck is still like, and then the truck drives over it slowly. I don't know how the woman and the dog connect. So user Terrify. You two have to tell me what you think this is. Okay. What it reminds you of.
Okay.
In Georgia, there were two friends driving home after drinking when one friend hung his head out of the window of the car to throw up. The other didn't know he wasn't just passed out when he got home and left him in the car overnight, where a man and his toddler saw the headless friend in the guy's car. He had been decapitated by a telephone wire.
What the real life Hereditary moment? Okay.
My last one, which is like really interesting because I read this and I was like, oh fuck, I've read this book. So user baby hippo 01. This one actually I think scares me the most. So there's a book called Working Stiff. It's from a former medical examiner named Dr. Judy Melinek. She has like a bunch of books.
Okay.
So Judy the doctor described one of the worst cases she had ever dealt with being that of a man who fell down into an open manhole after getting into a drunken fight with a friend after the friend accused him of flirting with his partner. At the bottom of this main, the water, shallow enough for him to stand in, and steam was scalding due to like the main's issues.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, emergency services staff couldn't get there in time to rescue him due to how hot it was for several hours, meaning that he stood up there, helpless, basically being steamed to death. What's worse is that his autopsy revealed no other severe injuries, meaning that he was fully conscious throughout the whole ordeal, which was reported by Dr. Judy, to have been excruciating, as steam burns, despite their severity, do not destroy nerve endings like other types of burns do. So he could like feel everything that was happening. He's basically just standing there being fucking cooked.
God.
Okay, so those are my 4 stories of like real life, like weird deaths. All right. Chance, don't you have some questions for us?
Yes. Out of all the accidents that kick off the Final Destination movies, which one is your scariest?
Log truck.
Yeah. Log truck for me too.
I think roller coaster, actually.
Really?
Weirdly.
I love roller
Actually,
Okay,
no,
here's
I think plane, because I've been on one plane trip I took. It wasn't even bad turbulence, but it was enough that I was just like, yeah.
Okay, here's my thing about the log truck, though. First of all millennials. So I surveyed 15 millennials on my Snapchat. They all said log truck. One said bridge collapse. But one of my friends said what I think I feel about the log truck specifically and why I think that we're so scared of it. Not only did we see this at like such formative years in our lives, but also most of us are or travel on a highway daily.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that can happen every fucking day. I'm not going on a roller coaster every fucking day.
That's true.
I'm not going on a plane every fucking day. That log truck scene was scary.
It was scary.
Yeah, so the 15 millennials I surveyed, 14 said log truck. 1 said bridge collapse.
Okay.
Okay, then what favorite deaths?
Pool scene.
Are you saying worst death?
Two-parter. One is like the death that freaked you out or that like hit you the most, and then one is like favorite.
Okay, so worst death to me,
The pool guy,
is drowning while your insides get violently sucked out by the filter of a pool. So you're at the bottom of a pool. And
that's happened to people in real life.
I was terrified of
yeah,
that shit
because
when I was a kid.
okay, so that's also a scene in a Chuck Palahniuk book. I think a story in one of his like short novels where a dude goes to the bottom of the pool and masturbates. His ass gets stuck in a filter and his insides get sucked out. So it just like reminded me of that. And I was like, that, can you imagine?
Yeah, that would be awful.
And then I also said malfunctioning laser eye machine and then falling out of the building and your eye popping out of its socket after death.
Yeah.
because that would be just like insult to injury.
Yeah.
Okay, Bri, what's your spookiest death and favorite death?
The pool one. I was terrified of that when I was a kid when I went swimming. I thought I was going to get sucked to the
I have
bottom of the
honorable
pool.
mentions, by the way.
Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. They were all kind of cheesy to me.
Do you want me to do my honorable mentions for worst deaths?
Sure.
And here's the thing. I thought I was just like being too dramatic about this one, but I got it 3 times from people.
What one?
I would ask, like, what do you think is the worst death?
Yeah.
Thinking, like, obviously it's going to be the fucking tanning beds.
Oh, yeah.
No. 3 different people said the nail gun to the back of the head.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a good ass
that's my
death. And
favorite
her,
kill.
also her hand, I forgot, gets like stuck to her fucking head.
Yeah.
That one was my
I
favorite
just feel like
kill.
that would be so fucking brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd feel every bit of
But
it.
it's fucking awesome to look at in a movie.
And then I said honorable mention, nail gun to the back of the head many, 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 many times.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said also the one where he's trisected by the wire in 2.
Oh. Okay.
When it's like the news vans going everywhere
Mm-hmm.
and the cocaine dude is like in the middle and he gets doesn't he tell Kimberly like, can you hide my porn from my parents? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, he does. And he also, isn't he the one who asked Kimberly like, is it going to hurt when I die?
Yeah.
And it ends up being like one of the fucking
brutal
worst deaths. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one that like freaked me out the most was actually Todd's death in 1. There's something about like slipping on water and then getting like soap in the fucking bathtub so you can't stand back up and you're getting strangled and it looks like a suicide.
Yeah.
Something about that freaked me out.
It freaked me out so much. And also, you know what? So their whole thing for the first movie was that it was going to be that death was an actual like force. So do you remember in that Todd's death scene where the water comes out and then it retreats?
Yeah.
And then they basically just abandon that whole concept of that like death is like out to get us. And then also it's going to like erase any
trace of it,
that it was ever there or whatever.
That's what was most terrifying about it because the water went back. So it's like, no, people just think
but that's
he
the
killed
only
himself.
time it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they shot that. They were happy with it, but they abandoned that whole concept after it. They were like, we're just going to make it not that much of a force.
Yeah, it's less death and more fate.
They're not like, it's not going to be death as an actual thing coming after. Yeah. It felt very supernatural.
Well, I have notes for Final Destination 6. So Tony Todd is in it, which we know.
His last movie.
Yep, it's being released May 16th of 2025. And it's described as a reimagining of the franchise. So maybe they'll do something different. So
well, I kind of hope that they
said it's going to differ from the franchise's formula.
I don't love that though, because I kind of want it to be a thing that explains.
Well, basically,
everything.
from what I saw, so it looks like the lead character isn't even involved in the accident that she has the premonition about.
Yeah, I was reading it and it was like she's having nightmares or something.
Right. So we'll see. That's all I know about it.
Okay. And it's a girl.
And it's a girl.
Girl boss.
Closing thoughts. So this is literally what I wrote that these movies are about. This franchise is about the inability to escape death. And if you're lucky, you'll meet Tony Todd.
Hell yeah.
Well, now you won't. But
well, if you believe in God, maybe.
This is a Christian podcast.
Also, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys. Okay. I have one last thing to say.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have one last question for both of you. Girlies, what is the best thing about these movies? And there's a right answer.
Gore.
No.
Tony Todd.
No.
What is it?
They're all under 100 minutes long.
They are very short.
That is really
I love. That's why it's so easy to fucking binge them.
Yeah, that is super
marathon
nice.
them. Movies need to be shorter. And I believe that.
My question for you.
Stop fucking making them 3 hours long.
My
What the hell?
question is, what is a real life Final Destination moment that you had or you thought you were going to have?
Hey, that's a question you should have asked me a week ago so I could actually think about it.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't have one?
Do you have
Yeah,
one?
what is the
Just like,
Bri
are you
lore
trying to
drop of
ask
this-
us?
There's
this
no
episode?
lore. Just like some. Okay.
Now
So
she's got. See, she said there's no lore. Now it's gonna be something fucking insane.
It's going to be insane.
Not. It's just like when I bartend. So in the cooler, there's the
Oh,
fan.
I told you that it was.
Nuh-uh, I texted you and said this is my Final Destination.
No,
moment."
I told.
I will look back through our fucking text messages because I texted you.
No, because I said it needs to be more complicated
Yes.
if it was going to be Final Destination.
there's a girl that gets hit by a truck.
She's never looked at me with more malice than she just fucking did.
Because I'm right.
So you're asking like what our Final Destination moment would be, not if we've ever had a close encounter with death.
Right. Like what would it be?
Okay.
So mine is I'm bartending. There's the fans in the cooler, and I'm always scared when I'm getting beer that like my hair or my shirt is gonna get caught in the fan and like rip off my fucking arm or my head or something.
Yeah, I've just decided I know exactly how that it would happen for me. It's going to be Winnie. And I fucking know
It's
it.
gonna be winning.
My stupid ass cat. I'm going to be doing like actively doing something dangerous. I'm going to be like putting knives away.
Okay. Yep.
And like you're looking at me like this is a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at me and being like, "Oh, it's going to be something about the knives. And meanwhile, Winnie has parked her ass right behind my fucking feet. And I try to walk back, fall over. You think I'm going to break my neck? No, I don't. I don't break my neck, but I do fall directly on my back. I'm like, oh, that hurts. And then Winnie spills over her water dish because she thinks it's funny. Or because I haven't filled it up with fresh enough water. And then I get electrocuted. It's going to be Winnie. That's it. That's all I know.
Now that I think about it, yeah, it probably will be one of my cats.
Yeah, it's going to be one of our cats. Because they love us. They don't fucking care about us. No. They'd rather eat us. Well, that's Final Destination 1 through 5. I'm sorry it was confusing. We should have...
How is it confusing? It's so simple.
I know, but I think I went... Winnie. I almost called you Winnie. I'm so sorry that I called you my stupid cat's name. My inbred cat's name. You're just always so thorough and so good at doing notes and all that. I kind of feel bad that I don't think that I did it as well as you did, but...
And next week, we're doing It Follows. I decided, well, Ariel kind of decided, and then she's like, you don't want to do that. And I said, I'll do it. So here we go. We're going to do it.
Because let's think back to literal our intro episode of how you hate It Follows.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it on the
I
podcast.
can't wait to hear your thoughts on It Follows.
Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at SlayWhatPod. And thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. The line ends here.
Slay What is hosted by Bri Vodvarka and Ariel Varshnarfker. Production and editing is by me, Chance Smith, with Strangehavens. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at SlayWhatPod. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you like what you hear. Check out our sister podcast, Small Town Big Gays, hosted by me and Travis Gorell, and go to strangehavens.com for more.